Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. We are on our 25th day of school closure, not counting spring break. This is the live stream PD for April 24th, Friday. We just have, this meme thing is something I kind of like doing when we're opening the broadcast. This is just our way of saying, like, this is not the easiest thing to be going through, and to just have a little patience with yourself. Guys going to the doctor, having all these things, irritability, not sleeping, crying a lot, appetite has changed, and the doctor saying, I've seen these a lot. These are symptoms of being a teacher during distance learning. So just be patient with yourselves, as I'm sure you're being patient with our students. So we just have a couple of things today. We're having a couple of technical difficulties today. I hope it's not going to be one of those days, guys. So again, we just thanks everybody for continuing to check out remoteinstruction.org, where all of our resources are. I don't think I need to elaborate there. So we're doing a little bit of reflection and our own formative assessment. So I think it was mailed out at 9:25. We are asking for folks to fill out the Remote Instruction Needs Assessment 2.0. You will notice some of the same questions you answered on the first needs assessment. We're doing sort of a pre and post in that sense. And then on the second page, we're asking for your input on sort of next steps and directions, things you might want us to revisit, new topics you'd like us to go to. So it really shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, I wouldn't think. And then if you can do that sometime, we will use that information to plan our ongoing live stream PD. So thank you very much. We appreciate hearing your voice and your input. As I say all the time, if you have something to share, please send it to edtech@alisal.org with the subject line for the web or for the live stream, or for both web and live stream. Also, your questions, please continue to direct your support requests and your questions to edtech@alisal.org, not directly to George Sellier or I. We all three get to look at that, and sometimes there are things in there that we need to discuss with each other before we formulate a response. Sometimes we have to go ask other folks. So it just helps our workflow along, and we really appreciate those of you who are doing that. It really makes our lives a lot easier while we're trying to help you. Okay, and that is the extent of the opening today. It's the shortest I think I've ever talked on here. So up first, I am so excited to bring on Ana Cordero and Maricar Osorio, and they're going to be sort of showcasing Miss Osorio's focus on ELA and ELD, despite the fact that I wrote ELD twice in that cue card. And so first up, we're gonna, because our opening is so brief, only 5 minutes, we're not gonna take a break. We're gonna swing right into Miss Cordero and Miss Osorio. So as soon as they unmute and start sharing their screen, they can take it away. Hello.
We are.
There you are. Go ahead and start presenting your screen.
Okay, I think we are ready. So everybody can see my screen now?
They sure can, Anna. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Showcasing ELA, ELD Remote Instruction. We have done this in Ms. Osorio's second grade virtual class. If you have questions through our presentation, we include the bit.ly in there. If not, you can go through your email, because Mr. Harris and the EC team always share those links with us. We are going to be pausing during 4 times during this presentation, just to take your questions or your comments. Please be free to make comments that can help all our colleagues, because it's not all about questions, it's about sharing what is successful in our classrooms and sharing what are the challenges that we have at the same time. So for the ones that they don't know me, my name is Ana Cordero, and I'm the ELA ELD TOSA for primary grades at the district office. My colleague and co-presenter today is going to be Miss Osorio. She will introduce herself in a minute. Before we start, I want to bring out our purpose. Why was that we did this presentation? So what we want to do is just share the process, the planning, the activities, everything that we have created following the district guidelines for remote instruction. And we hope that you can use this presentation to get some ideas, or if you don't get ideas from, you don't take the ideas that we present here, maybe you are going to be sparked with new ideas after watching it. So a big thank you to you, Ms. Osorio. Thank you for being our host. Thank you for collaborating with me during this presentation, and thank you to your second grade class. It was 2 weeks of joy for me that I don't have so much opportunity at this time in remote instruction to collaborate with teachers and work with the students directly. So it was a wonderful experience for me. I'm sure for you and your students. So before we continue, I just wanted to review some considerations when we plan. And if your mailbox is like mine, the vendors and the publishers are driving you nuts. Every single day I have tons of emails, try this, or we have this for remote instruction, we have this other program. Well, this is what I do. Click, 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 thanks, but no thanks. We have enough programs. We have enough platforms. Just using the platforms that we have is what is going to facilitate students' learning. They are familiar with SEL, they are familiar with Classroom, they are familiar with tons of programs that we have, like Lexia, iStation, CERN, SEL, Connect Ed. So let's use what we have, because our focus is not really on the platforms or the programs or the apps. Our focus is on providing the best quality instruction for our students and making sure that they are learning. That is our focus. So if we put all our energy in learning new platforms and our kids are putting all the energy in learning new programs, we aren't putting the energy where it should be. Our energy, as I said, it should be in students' progress and learning. So if we follow the district guidelines, we know that we have 3 hours of instruction per week per subject. And if we talk per subject, ELA and ELD is combined, so 3 weeks of instruction. If we carefully plan instruction based on integration, and we try to integrate in the primary grades the social studies and science into our ELA, and also integrate activities for ELD into that. I mean, we can have 3 hours of instruction that are very well planned and thoughtful, and they are going to provide the progress and the learning that our students need. This is not a setting where we can bombard them with activities. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality, and it's sometimes less is more. So it's not about pushing activities, it's about knowing our students and preparing the instruction that we know they need and integrating everything so they can learn. So said that, we focus on essential learning, so essential standards. And also we need to focus in the social emotional aspect. And Ms. Alex Dominguez is going to do a presentation after us about socio-emotional considerations. So that is great. It's a great a continuation of this training. So Ms. Osorio, now you are going to talk to us about how you create that wonderful environment for your students to learn and succeed.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Anna. But before I continue, let me correct that we worked together for 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. And we are still collaborating.
Yes. Hello, SEL Familia. Yes, my name is Maricar Osorio, and I am second grade teacher at MLK. Yeah, Monarch. So yes, it's been a fun 3 weeks with Miss Anna, and first thing is that I set up 3 corners of my house to be my classroom. It's significant to have a motivating environment for the students. So I've added morning messages or place myself where the background is colorful. Also, I want them to feel that they are with me, even though we are in different places. Okay, so taking care of the socio-emotional aspect of our students, I have daily check-in, both formal and informal. I also added relaxing moments throughout the day, like we have kinesthetic and mindfulness exercises. And the formal during the meeting, I have that done. And then also in Seesaw, for those students who don't feel comfortable speaking in front of everybody. And then at the end of the week, usually it's Thursday, we have every week a dress up day. We had the Princess Day, we had the Crazy Glasses Day, and this week they choose to have the Pajama and Crazy Hair Day. And I do this just, to make it engaging and fun for them, because I know some of them, you could see from their faces that, they're struggling. Like even my high students, you could see sometimes the teary eyes while they're completing the work. So this way I'm making it like more motivating. Like, I want them to come and attend the meeting.
And I love how you did your hairdo in this.
I'm the
great way of connecting with your students, Mr. Osorio. And that is a very important part when we are creating that socio-emotional environment that our students need.
Yes.
So just to remind, what is our goal during these remote instruction times? So our goal is maintaining what the students have learned. At the same time, we need to be focusing on how the students are progressing, and are the students learning the essential learnings that they will need for next year. One important aspect of having a successful time in this new mode of instruction is connecting with the parents. So we are trying to connect as much as we can with the parents, because that is one of our challenges. The participation of the students, even though that Ms. Osorio has a class with 31 students, only 22 students were participating regularly. We have a hard time bringing up the other 9 students. And we did as many things as we could do. We make phone calls to the parents. If they didn't answer the phone, we left message. Ms. Osorio constantly sent reminders and announcements through a classroom and through CISO. We even send letters home. Recently, we send letters home to those 9 students that aren't connecting in case they don't have a way of getting into SEL or getting into classroom. And we send letters telling them, please contact us. Contact us in this phone number if you are unable to connect through the internet. And yesterday we send letters again requesting to have a meeting with the parents just to clarify what are the expectations of the students in this new setting. How important is that they complete the assignments. And Ms. Osorio has daily communications with the students, and she's going to talk a little bit about that now.
Yes. So the first 3 or 4 weeks, I send out daily messages. It's one way to remind my parents and the students that we have school, or we are in school schedule. Also, we want to be present and encouraging students during this new reality. The only thing is that I have to show a model where they can access the messages. Like I have to say that in your SEL, the inbox, if there's a number on top, that means to say there's a new message. I also send messages in the afternoon to remind them of the next day's schedule, or if there is something or materials that the students need to have with them. Yes, before we have the Meet link available in Google Classroom, I have the link created from the calendar and posted it in SEL and Google Classroom. Because, you know, sometimes SEL is not working, so it's a good idea to have 2 platforms just in case one platform stops working. And we have our classroom schedule in Google Slides, and there is consistency in this format. And my students are familiar using the Google Slides. That's why I use this one. And I got this idea from the American school in Japan, where teachers pushed out daily schedule in this format. I can open the March 30 schedule.
I'm going to open it now, Ms. Osorio. So I have to say that all these are links to the slide presentation for every single day. So Ms. Osorio is going to explain and show this one. And then we will focus only in the slides for language arts and ELD, even though, as you see, once she's presenting this is how a daily routine goes in her classroom, and she established that consistently with her students. So I'm going to put this presentation in presenting mode so Ms. Osorio can present one day in her classroom.
Yeah, so this is the slide, and every day I change the date, of course, and the content. The second slide will be just our class picture, just to let them know that this is their class, this is where, you know, I want them to feel that they're home with this class pictures, just to welcome everybody. And then every morning I change my morning announcement. And before, I have a video of myself, you know, recorded, you know, just welcoming them for that day. But the problem was the students, they were not able to play the video. So I stopped recording myself. I just, you know, tell them that read that one. And then the remote class meeting expectations. This one was created, all of us created it. So just like the classroom rules that we did during the beginning of the school year. So they were the one who gave me this this rule or expectations during the remote class meeting. And then and those expectations and this one here, how to post a a strong picture in Seesaw because they do this a lot. But this one stays there every single schedule. Yep, that's how to take a strong post on Seesaw. And the next one is how to leave a strong comment on my friend's post. So we talk about this. This is a little bit about, you know, digital citizenship and also providing feedback on other students' work.
And this is a very important slide to have in our presentations, Ms. Osorio, because one of the standards is for them to collaborate or for them to comment in their work. And we incorporate this also in our planning for these 2 weeks that we are presenting, how students can comment on each other's work.
Yes. And so this is the start of the ELA at 9:30. Whatever, you know, like we post a picture, the beginning of the lesson. I have the learning target added there and the materials that they'll be needing. We posted on how to create their graphic organizer. Anna recorded herself how to use the app, the G Suite app. I think you used the Google Docs there, huh, Anna? And then I used my notebook. So there's 2 ways to record their answers. This is the key.
Testified in order to show them how can they react to a picture because it was part of our lesson plan. So I modeled to them how to react to this picture, and then they need to react themselves and answer the questions. At the same time, you incorporate this video of how to create the graphic organizer in paper because we are trying to use both
media.
Both medias, tech media and what Ben calls analogic, Ben Coswell calls analogic media, right? Which is the paper and pencil. Oh, sorry, it went to I have to click outside.
Yep. And then after that, again, there's another explanation of how they're going to write this on their notebook. Again, on the other side is that how they're going to answer it. After that, they take a strong photo and put it in Seesaw, and then they add it to the graphic organizer folder. So they do all of that. And then there's the breathing exercises for them, added also throughout the day.
And I love these breathing exercises. I was doing them, all of them. Probably we need to do a lot of this if we want to be calm and sane.
And then after that, I have the math lesson. Again, I recorded the lesson every lesson, and then I added it there. And then there's 2 ways of accessing it. Because sometimes, again, the students cannot play the video from the Google Slides. So I also added those videos in our Google Classroom. The main teaching points for the math lesson. And then after that, we'll be telling them that they need to get their Math Learn book. I have the pages there that they need to work, and then take a picture of it and add it to the folder Math Trimester 3.
And let's breathe again.
Yes. And then I have their lunchtime, and I gave them like 11 to 12:30 for lunchtime. And then I told them that, you know, I'm not at 12:30, they go back to their work. This is our Read for Fluency. And they are familiar. I added this one because my students are familiar with this work. Even when we were at school, they do this every day at home. They have to read it 5 times, and then they record it on Thursday. But this time, I asked them to record it on a Friday.
Another breathing moment.
And then this one, I have to look for books that will support the whatever lesson or the topic we are learning for that week. So I found this one in Epic, and then I assign it to them, and they talk about it, that, you know, you have this. And then again, they are familiar using this one and accessing the assigned books
And if we use our program Wonders Maravillas, you can assign also books from there. The Scholastic has a website with tons of books that we can assign in different topics, and also EPIC. And those are programs that the students know already, and we know.
And that was it. You know, at the end of the day, they get to celebrate. I added the Go Noodle, and you get to party after that.
And celebrating the accomplishment each day is very important, and encouraging students to do kinesthetic activities.
Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Osorio. I'm going to get off of this now and go back to our presentation.
Yep. And so, okay, so the daily schedule, I push them out in Google Classroom, and all of their work are done on a paper, or the applications could be Seesaw, Epic, and I want them to have access on both platforms, so I assign it to both platforms. But most of their work are submitted in Seesaw. Be it technology, be it in the Seesaw activities, or by paper or the notebook, they need to take a picture of it, and then all of it will be posted in Seesaw.
So it's very, very important that we track participation and task completion. This template came from Mr. Ben Scaleswell. He shared with us, and he is okay with everybody having it, so or adapting to their needs. So we provide here a link to the template. Sharing in these things are very important, because we need to collaborate with each other, and you can adapt whatever other people have created, and that is going to facilitate our tasks. So why we need to track participation? Well, tracking participation is not really just to know how many tasks we push out and how many tasks they complete. It's just because learning builds on previous days' knowledge. So it's very important to track the student completion of assignments, because if we don't do that, we can ensure that the students don't have holes in the progression of the instruction. In our planning, we go from building background knowledge and then providing them vocabulary and sentence structure, and then applying this learning to a final project. You will see how we structure our instruction in these 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And if students don't complete some of the assignments in the process, then they aren't going to be able to be successful as they complete their final tasks. For us, our final task was writing informational text. For math, if they are missing some lessons in the middle, or they don't complete the assignments in the middle, they aren't going to be successful understanding future lessons. So just tracking that the students are completing those assignments is very important. And sharing with the parents if they are completing the assignments. And Ms. Osorio is communicating, as you see here, with the parents in a private way. So she can say here, hey, Sylvia, look, this student is not completing the assignments. Look, he's meeting with me only 2 days, and he's not completing any assignments. Or, hey, look, she has completed all the assignments. Look what a wonderful work this student has done. This student is meeting with me regularly every day and is completing all the assignments on their way. So this student, the impact in the learning of these students is going to be greater than this one. This student is going to have holes because he's missing instruction in the middle, and it's not because he's not completing the assignments. So checking for understanding as we teach is very important. Ms. Osorio provides in CISO, she organizes the assignments for the students in folders, and she has a folder that is named questions. So students can post questions there like, hello, I need help with lesson 16, or I need help with the spelling. Oh, they can post even something that is positive, like Miss Osorio, you are the best and fun teacher. So this is a way of communicating with the students and providing them with a venue to ask questions and to monitor and clarify misunderstandings. And looking at the student work is the other way that we can see, are the students learning? Because it's not about us providing the best thoughtful planning or the best quality of instruction. Is about, are the students getting it? So one question needs to be always in our head. Are they learning? And how can we see if they are learning the same way that we saw how they are learning in the classroom? We have to analyze their students' work. So we have to look at the responses. Here, we ask them not only to write regularly. Ms. Osorio is asking the students not only to write the responses, take the picture and send it. We are asking them to record the responses, because in that way we can analyze their language and we know what we need to teach in ELD, what lessons we can incorporate in our lessons in order to take care of that expression too. In this case, look at this assignment. This student didn't understand the assignment. He was to answer what happens to our waste, what can we do to reduce the waste, and how do we keep the earth clean. And the only thing he did was writing his name in the 3 areas. So that tells us that we need to find a way to catch up with this student, maybe at the end of the day, like Mr. Osorio is doing many times. So giving feedback to our students is very important. How are we going to give the feedback? Simply, we can do feedback live during our meetings in the morning or in the afternoon. We can do comments to their work in written or recorded. Doing recorded comments is very important because especially in lower grades, when we have students that they don't master the decoding still, just giving voice recordings it will facilitate their understanding. But teacher feedback is very important. That is going to clarify misunderstandings. And as Ms. Osorio said, create excitement and create community. Giving the students a sense of belonging. Posting pictures that they see each other, remind them that we are here, we are all here. It's not like we see each other every day, but hello, we are here for you, and you can see us every time when we meet. And balance instructional activities, and balance kinesthetic activities, and balance fun activities. If the students get tired, as the classes progress, the novelty kind of wears out and they get a little bit disengaged. So that was a question that we actually discussed. How are we going to keep engaging the students? Because we noticed that some of them aren't turning the assignments, or some of them are meeting every day, meets here and there. So we are discussing what can we do in order to bring more motivation and engagement in our classroom. As we post for questions, if you have some ideas that are working for you, you can just put your ideas too, so everybody learns from everybody. So one thing that we are discussing is maybe in the morning when we meet, have a fun game that everybody needs to, Ms. Osorio meet with them at 8:45, but sometimes the students don't meet till 9 or 9:30, don't join the meet. or join the meet late. So they are missing that modeling, and they are missing that direct instruction that is working with them. So maybe having right away when we open in Meet a game or a context that they need to participate for 3 or 4 minutes, and if they aren't there on time, they miss it. So we are constantly brainstorming what can we do. So now we are going to breathe, and it's time for questions. So do we have any questions so far?
We do. We have a few of them. We're going to start with some maybe for Maricar. Maricar, some folks are asking just about kind of logistics. And so they're asking, for example, how do you get those daily lesson slides to your students? Like, where do you post them? How do you get those to your students?
So my students are familiar with the Google Classroom even before the shelter in place. So I pushed them out in Google Classroom, and I had arranged my topic from before the spring break and after the spring break, so it's easy for them to look for it. And then again, during the first few weeks, I have to like go over it, like present my screen every single day again. Where do we get it? And they tell me, I present it. I said, where am I pointing? And they said, Google Classroom. Now, where am I pointing? So it's in Google Classroom every day. And then also, yeah, present your screen and then talk about it. And now this week I changed it. Like everybody, I stopped presenting my screen. I said, everybody, I want you to go to Google Classroom and open the schedule today. And then we're all opening it at the same time. And then we're all looking at each slide. Just a reminder of what to do again every day, where they get them. But it's in Google Classroom.
Thank you. And how do you keep your students from doing the assignments too quickly, like ahead of time, instead of using the time blocks that you assign?
I really don't mention about the time blocks, but I let them work ahead. Like I have 3 students, like they're done with the work yesterday. I have new one for today, like the exit ticket for math, and they're done. They did it yesterday. So I let them work ahead. I don't really give them the time because some of them are really, they're fast. Then the rest are really, they need to stay with me so I can guide them. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do with students who don't keep up with the work?
If the parents are connected, then I send a message to the parents, or if the parents are connected, but they are not there, they're not responding to my message, then I have to talk to the student, say, stay once we're done. I want you to stay with me. Sometimes I would stay with the students that I know that he can do the job, but the thing is, I don't know what he's doing in front of the screen. Like this week, I have one student that I had to stay until 4:30 just to finish up the work.
Gotcha. And how long do you interact face-to-face with your class?
So I have, now I open the Meet at 8:30 because I noticed that many of them are good in the morning. And so at 8:30, and I said, now they're familiar with the process and completing the work. So I let them go ahead. You don't need to stay with me, but I have the link open, the meeting room open from 8:30 to 11 to provide support. And then again, I reminded them of at 1:30, I'll be here. I'll be available at 1:30 for any questions, any help again until 2:30 to 2:40.
A couple more questions here, Maricar, for you. Number one is, and I'm sure this will be coming up, is a couple of questions that come up about getting access to your slide deck. So will you be sharing that later on today?
Yes, Anna will be changing the sharing option of all those schedules.
Yeah, so all the links should work because I put the sharing options for anyone in the link at ALISAL to keep the privacy of our students. The only ones that are not linked are the daily schedules, the schedule, the PowerPoint for each day. I have to link those, but everybody will have access to the slides. And as you look through the slides, you will have the planning, you will have all all the activities that we create, all the screencastify, everything is linked there. So you will have 2 weeks of instruction if you would like to use it or replicate it or use parts of it.
Great, thank you, Anna. So a little bit related to it, as a reminder for everybody that's watching, is after the live stream, this being recorded, we will post it on the remote instruction website along with this presentation that Anna and Maricar are completing. So that's a little reminder there, so to go check there afterwards, and perhaps an email will also go out from Josh on that. The second question. It's a question with regards to the tracking document, Maricar, that you are using. And I want to, for a little bit here, let you know what's going on. And I believe if you are a teacher, you probably received an email yesterday in your personal email that talks about ATA, working with the district on developing a tool, mostly because of compliance issues with regards to the state and funding. So we have worked on a document that addresses the needs that the government has, and it looks different than what Maricar showed, even though it is accomplishing a lot of the same information. So be on the lookout for that template that we will be using as a district. It was negotiated as part of an MOU that you will be hearing about soon. So hopefully that answers that question about getting access to that template for those of you that wanted the tracking template. So I wanted to share that with you, with everybody. All right, so that was the other question that I had.
Thank you, George, because that is important. Whatever district guidelines are in place, we should follow that. Right now, because we didn't have any kind of monitoring or tracking, participation or completion tool, we were using this tool that Mr. Ben Coswell shared with us, and he was okay with us communicating it to other teachers. But I agree that whatever has been negotiated by ATA and the district and are the guidelines of the district, that those are the tools that we should be using from now on. Thank you.
Yeah, and that doesn't just go for this template. I know that other sites have a different template on it, but yeah, so more information will be coming your way. So Celia has another question here.
This one might be the last one, unless just a reminder that there are some very specific questions or how-to questions that either George and I can answer directly via email. There is one question, Maricar, about how do you structure instruction for students who cannot yet read and write?
That's why we have it, the video that screencastifies. So for many of the lessons that we have there, I have it video recorded. And then again, I had, like you said, I have non-reader students. That's why sometimes I have to read. The next one that we're going to show will be the vocabulary words, where I have 2 ways to access it. One way will be, they can read it, or the other way is I recorded reading the vocabulary and the meaning and the example.
And another thing that Ms. Osorio is doing is when she meets with the students in that live, she is modeling and she's guiding the students. It's like having a little mini classroom in her living room with all the charts, all the materials, so we can still provide that support and a scaffold for the students that have trouble with the decoding of the writing.
Awesome. I think for right now, that might be the last question that's come up, but we are about 45 minutes in, okay. So I'm not sure if you ladies want to take a quick break right here. I know you had some other time scheduled in, but since
we could take a break right here. It's not a problem.
Okay.
So let me put, it's a 10-minute break?
Sure.
So let me put the counter. Believe was I'm looking for it. Okay, so thank you very much for being with us, and we have 10 minutes break.
Anna, make sure to unmute.
Good. Okay. And here we are back.
Oh.
So I don't know what is the cricket.
Close your YouTube tab.
Okay. We are very good. Okay, so we are back. Thank you for being back with us. And if there are no more questions, we continue. So right now we are going to talk about all the planning, and we are going to show the lessons that we prepare for the students. And we will talk also about the challenges and the successes that we have. So everything started with the standards. Our questions was, okay, where are our students right now and what do they need right now? And what are those essential standards that we need to integrate? So as you notice in the standards that we have during these 2-3 weeks of instruction, we have reading standards for informational, because that was our focus, informational text. We have writing standards, we have speaking and listening, we have listening standards, we have ELD standards incorporated there. At the same time, we have science standards. So at the end of the unit, they are going to do a science project, and it's all related to the topic. So from the standards, we prepare the weekly lesson plans. And if you click in this link, you will see all the weekly lesson plans with the links to the activities that we provide in the students. So you will have the standards at the beginning, you will have what we did on Monday. If we click on all the links, you will have the screen castified, all the vocabulary cards that we create, anticipatory guide, the videos, the note-taking tool, the ELD lessons that we prepare. So everything is in this document for all the 2 weeks plus of instruction. And you will have access because all the links should work. If one link doesn't work, please request access and I will correct it. But I think the only links that I need to correct are the ones for the daily schedules. Okay. So let's start with Monday. So on Monday, we start the unit with explaining the purpose. Why are we doing this? What are we learning? And how are we going to show that we learn all this content that we plan? So we explain the purpose and the culminating task. So the culminating task was presenting, writing informational text, and then collaborating in Google Slides with the classroom about what they can do to protect Earth at home and in their neighborhoods. So we start with engaging. So our lesson plan goes from engaging the students in the topic to continue building academic vocabulary and continue building background knowledge through readings and viewing, including writings or responses all through the days to address comprehension, and try to incorporate also some collaborative writing and oral discussions so we can clarify and get a deeper knowledge on the content. And we will end with the culminating task that was writing informational text. All through the lessons, we provide students with the opportunities to write, to read, to speak, to listen, and to collaborate. And they also make comments on students' responses. So they have that collaboration or feedback peer to peer. I like to say that we always talk about 4 domains, that is the reading, the writing, the speaking, and the listening. But I would like to add always a 5th domain, because viewing is very important because of the scaffolding and the potential of the visuals, that have to students learning. So viewing should be always part of our instruction. So that is how we started. So for Monday, we engage the students, and we engage the students with a picture. And we have 2 questions. What does come to your mind when you see the picture? And what questions do you have about this picture? We started with a graphic organizer, and we are going to view a video about cleaning the earth. So all this is about engaging and building background. It was presented in classroom, and it was presented through a format that they know, which is the slides that we talked about previously. So here's the picture that we sent. And by the way, our topic is taking care of the earth. And in classroom, as Ms. Osorio was saying, we create a screencastify. I'm not going to be playing this. We will play the students' responses because we don't have time, but you can click and it's linked.
Good morning, students.
And you will see.
We are going to share today a picture.
Okay. So you have all the videos ready in case you want to use. So we give them the modeling, and then the students respond. So let's play this.
What do you know about the picture? I know that some animals eat the trash and get sick. I know that a lot of the trash goes in the ocean. What do you want to know about the picture? I want to know how much trash there is in the picture. I want to know how much trash is in the world.
Okay, so listening to this response, we can be analyzing the language, we can be clarifying misunderstanding, and the students are very engaged in everything, in reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So how are we going to differentiate ways of expression? Because one of the questions was, what can we do for those students that they can read or write? Well, if we allow different ways of expression, like in this case, this student is a strong student. This student can read, they can write, and they can speak. This student maybe is not as strong. They can communicate some knowledge by drawing and by speaking. This student maybe is not as strong as in our lower part of the class. And this student can only talk, but just recording their answers is going to be a way of scaffolding for them and promoting differentiation. And then giving feedback. Every time we receive the students' work, Ms. Osorio gave feedback here in a written way and here in an oral way. So she knows her students and she knows which students they need that extra scaffold of listening to feedback orally. Ms. Osorio, would you like to comment anything about work?
No, I was just thinking of the question earlier on how you get to those students who are not reading, and that's one way that I get to them if I record myself, providing my feedback.
Thank you. And plan B, because we know that technology sometimes doesn't work. So having in your home a designated space where you can create a mini classroom is very important. We can go to the classrooms without no problem and getting the materials that we need and create a corner in our living room or our studio, whatever we consider is appropriate, in order to have chart paper, markers, and anything so we can model. So previously, students send the assignments, sometimes Ms. Osorio needs to, or we need to brainstorm ideas for them. So, and if they cannot push their assignments through SEL because it's not working, or they have difficulty, they can read it during the meet, and Ms. Osorio can write it over here, so everybody's benefiting from the learning. And the day finished with fluency. As Ms. Osorio said, she's assigning fluency every day. And I don't know the noise.
And I'm thinking that it's still your YouTube video that you might have open in another tab.
Okay, let me see. Did you close? Okay, I guess it was there. Sorry for that. Okay, so going back, fluency reading every day. And now Tuesday, Ms. Osorio is going to talk about what we did on Tuesday.
Okay, so for Tuesday, our focus is to introduce them to the vocabulary cards. Those are the words that they're going to be using throughout this lesson. And then we also have anticipatory guide and also a video for them to watch. And then later on, introduce them on the slide presentation for group discussion. So we recorded, actually Anna recorded the video introducing those vocabulary words, and they were pushed out in SEL and in Google Classroom. And Anna modeled how to pronounce each word and how to use them in the sentence.
And the same, all these materials will be accessible through the planning. You click on the links and you will see it.
Yep. And so, yep, this one was pushed out to SEL again. It's a true or false, right? And then I asked the students to read each sentence again. I want them to speak, to read, and then answer those to get their background knowledge.
And this is an anticipatory guide that usually is done before video or before reading, because it creates engagement and it creates excitement and motivation from the students. At the same time, it focuses them on certain questions that we want them to focus during the reading or the video. And we can play this because this is a student one.
You must take care of the earth. True. When I use plastic bags, I am taking care of the earth. False. We can't take care of the earth by buying things we don't need. Reuse, don't reuse. Not important to keep earth healthy. True.
So for Plan B, so this one student here, if I remember, his SEL was not working at that time, so I had to redirect him to access this from the Google slide in Google Classroom and write it down on a piece of paper and answer it and take a picture of it. So the students will have to watch the video. And I believe Anna, and before watching the video, we talk about take note of these questions because you will answer those questions after you watch the video. And I recorded again on how to copy these questions on their notebook. And then the video that time, I believe Anna recorded the video in YouTube using her cell phone, and then from her cell phone to Google Drive, and then she'll link it here. What's funny is that, go ahead, Anna.
Yes, that is what I did, because we have problems getting videos from YouTube and then students playing them. So what I did, I played and I recorded with my phone, and then I put it from my phone to classroom.
And then also, Anna, with those questions, we have literal and inferential, and also application of knowledge.
So every time we did questioning to check comprehension, we are trying to balance the different kinds or different levels of questioning. To have always literally and to have questions that can be inferential or questions that are more to create or to apply their knowledge. Thank you for reminding that.
Oh,
me to the
no,
video. Yep.
Yeah.
Be careful where I click.
So this is the fun part. When the video is not working or the students can't play the video, I have to modify something, right? So I have my Chromebook playing the video, and I have the other one where the students, are in the meeting. And then if you can see in my MacBook, the students writing already her answer to those questions.
Yeah, we need to be creative because sometimes things don't work.
Here's another one. So the group discussion, so we want them to still practice that group discussion. So we had created a virtual discussion without all of the students talking at the same time. So we thought about communicating ideas through the slides and conversation in written format. So we had created this slide presentation. I believe it's like 2 slides, and then I gave it to per group. So in one group there are 3 students, and then I push it to Seesaw. My mistake, because I took the long road using Seesaw, and I asked them to click through the Google Doc original, thinking that once they answered it, it's going to be returned to me. I was thinking of Google Classroom. Once they're done with it, it's going to show back that they did their work, but in Seesaw, it's not. That is one mistake that I did, pushing it to Seesaw.
So this is one activity, one task that we need to refine, because the thought behind it was right. Okay, so how are we going to make the students to collaborate? But it's not oral collaboration because it was kind of challenging. How can we do it in writing? So they will have to react to whatever they wrote. But we encounter a problem that out of the 31 students, some of them weren't participating, some of them were meeting. So students will be the answers, only some students will be answering, and then it does not fulfill the purpose that it was having a conversation between 2 or more students. We assign groups of 3. So we have to rethink this and maybe have the conversation, group the students in the way that we have 2 students that usually participate in all the assignments and 1 student that sometimes participate, and see how that goes, because it didn't work like it was planned. Would you like to add anything, Ms. Osorio?
Yeah, you said it. Like, some students just answered all 3 questions. Some students, they were there, 2 or 3 of them in that group, but still 1 student answered the question. And to end the day, again, it's reading for fluency.
So now we have Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we assign reading, and we assign reading from Wonders. And we post some comprehension questions that they need to answer in their notebooks and record them and send them through Seesaw. And those questions were selected following 4 different levels. One question that was literal, inferential, and at the end, some kind of application creative question. What would you have done to solve the problem and save Earth resources too? So they will read and then they will have to apply. At the same time, they did a project that was in order to facilitate that communication and that speaking, that we didn't have that opportunity. We asked them to interview someone at home, their mom or their dad or any siblings, about this question: what can we do every day to save Earth resources? And in the same way, we are trying to build vocabulary and language through the sentence structures that they will need when they have to speak or they have to write. So we started with this mini lesson that is if, then, and this is related to ELD. So the reading came, as we said, from Wonders, and Ms. Osorio put all the directions, as always, in the Google slide deck. And then the questions were there, and she also showed them how can they create those questions or copy those questions in notebooks and then do their answers. Students submit their answers. Let me see if this one is, thank you.
What problems did the students in Mr. Simmons' class have? They didn't have materials. How did they solve the problem? They solved the problem because Pablo had an idea.
Okay, I'm going to stop it because we don't have too much time, and just to have an idea of how they are responding. And this is the slide deck that we create in order to show that sentence structure. So we model for them first. And this is a student response.
If we pick up the trash, then the earth will be clean.
Okay, and we get the idea. And this is the research project where they have to watch the video first to get some ideas and get familiar with that vocabulary that we have been working all through the days. And then they have to interview the parents. And these are some of the interviews. I'm going to play one, but you can play this once you have the slide.
Hola, mi nombre es Miguel.
Hola, mi nombre es María.
Y vamos a explicar cómo salvar el planeta. ¿Cómo podemos salvar el planeta, Ma?
El planeta lo podemos salvar reciclando, plantando árboles, no desperdiciando el agua, no usar mucho el carro, no tirar basura.
Gracias.
Okay, so we get the idea, and the fact that the student is in an English instruction class, and the student did the interview to the parents in Spanish actually validates their culture and their language, and probably the mother doesn't speak English, and the student is just practicing the skills that we want them to practice with. It was the listening and speaking skills, and it doesn't matter in what language. And we finished the day with the fluency. Would you like to add anything to Ms. Osorio?
No, go ahead.
So Thursday, Ms. Osorio is going to walk through this day?
Yeah, so for Thursday, our focus is was on sentence structure and beginning of our informative writing. So, so there are different sentence structure that students can use as they speak or write. And we model this. Again, we have a video how to read those sentences, how to use them. So students practice first, both academic vocabulary and language structure, and then they use those to write the informational text.
I can protect the earth by reusing paper. I can protect the earth by composting fruit and vegetables. I can protect the earth by recycling boxes.
Okay, and again, we get the idea.
So here we got a perfect response from this student, and I know that this student is below grade level, and we got a perfect response. Then I sent a message that, you know, it's okay to help them, but not totally give them everything. So I sent a message to the parents. And this is the introduction to the writing. So we used to build the storms, and they are familiar with this picture map. But before we start, I explained to them that the do what we used to write them, but at this point we are not going to do that because it's going to take them forever to finish it. But we practice the do. What is the first do? Describe, do what, and then from there we start with we review what are those each boxes, what we put inside, and then and they're very familiar with it. So it's not really hard to you know to finish this up.
If it's our home and we have to take care of it, we can do many things to protect the earth. First, I will save water when I brush my teeth and when I take a shower.
And again, we will go back.
So to start with those picture maps, so I asked questions. They were working on their paper, so they know how to draw the 6 boxes. And so I asked them questions. So what is the topic for this week, you know, or what are we talking about? Okay, now what is the problem? What do you want to do? So what are you trying to do? So they are the ones telling me, so that I'm not stating them, but I'm like scaffolding and providing them support, you know. And then because this week was the week before the spring break, and we only finished 3 boxes, right, for 30 minutes. And I said, you know what, we're gonna forget about this when we come back. So I want you to take a picture and record it in Seesaw, and this way we can go back to it in case, you know, we forget. And sure enough, we did forget. Even me, I forgot about it. So they were able to go back to their recording and to remind, you know, recall, review what we have said on each of those boxes. And then in the afternoon, we have the homophones, and they were created using academic vocabulary that students are learning and related to the topic and the sentence structures that we are practicing in ELD. And then again, to maximize the student exposure to those words and sentences. And then they used their Your Turn practice book to practice what they learned. And at the end of the day, again, read for fluency. And because it's a Thursday, we also have our first dress up day.
Yes, those pictures were really fun. And then Friday is the time where they complete all the incomplete assignments, and they work in collaborative projects, whatever project we want them to do. So this Friday, Ms. Osorio met with a small group instruction, because she was noticing that these kids have some misunderstanding, so she meets with them on Friday. And she talks about what to review, what to clarify, and what to extend. Would you like to add anything, Ms. Osorio?
Yeah, because like those students are not consistently attending because one of them, the parents are still working. So she goes to grandma, and grandma she doesn't have internet or Wi-Fi. So then I give them the chance to work with me when they are available.
Oh, okay. That was the break. So this is after break. So as Ms. Osorio, is this your slide or my slide?
It's yours, but I can help you with that. That was after the spring break, and I was lagging, and you were helping me. I said I can jump in once we get to the writing portion of the lesson.
Okay, so this was all in Meet, and everybody was interacting in there, and we were working on reviewing and reminding the students of the knowledge that they had before the break. So the same, it was posted. We have to review the KWLS chart for what they knew. We review what they were learning about Earth and the 3 boxes. And at the same time, it was completed all the boxes in there. So these are the 2 columns that they needed to complete at this time. So we review what they have done, and then what did you learn about taking care of the Earth? And then we complete also what do you still want to know about protecting the Earth? And the same process. Everything is presented through classroom with plenty of instructions so they can complete the assignments independently. They get always videos to model how to complete the assignments. And also they get to brainstorm in group in order to support them. And this was done during Meet. We wrote in that together. And the students will add the response and they will record the responses. And as we said before, you can play this. We are going to move a little bit quicker now for the sake of time because we want to finish on time around 11. So when we wrote, we started with a mentor test. And based on this mentor test, we took the verbs that are being used in the 6 boxes. And as they were recalling or retelling the 6 boxes, they were saying them. So this, I was writing as I was hearing them, retelling the story orally. Ms. Osorio did something that is wonderful and works very well. If we don't practice orally first what they need to write, they won't be so successful when they write. So, Ms. Osorio, can you explain a little bit about that chant that you have, like this? I was back, go back, and retell.
Yeah. So for each of those boxes, but before that, I based my question on this mentor text. So when I asked them, what is the topic, what do we need to do? So they came up with all those words like take care and protect. And then, so, okay. So, and then, like Wilda, every time we finish one box, like, okay, if we can say it, we can write it down. And then once we finish it so that it sticks inside their head, we have to go back and retell. So we have to do that twice so that it sticks inside their head whatever we are telling on that box. So that's what you were saying where we are chanting, like, we go back and then go back again, or and then I call 1 or 2 students to do it on their own, just like the way we do it in the classroom, because they're familiar with it.
So these are the 6 boxes in here, and what I did, I was writing exactly what the students were saying. So this is the language that the students were practicing with those 6 boxes that are just pictures and some words. These 6 boxes. And this is it. So based on these 6 boxes, they were retelling the whole story and then they take it into writing. And we can play a student response, but we aren't going to play it right now. So we also continue working with homophones, but now they need to apply. So now they can create their own homophones. Before, the homophones was more, okay, we are going to teach these homophones. We are going to use the vocabulary that we are learning, waste, recycle, reduce, to teach the homophones. We are going to try to use the sentence structures that we want them to practice, but now it's free. They can choose 2 homophones and apply their learning in any way. And we can play this one. And this student have chosen buy and buy. And again, we finish the day with fluency. And this is Wednesday.
So we're going to continue with this, right? So for one thing that I want to, yes, go ahead.
I think we should go on model the final. Maybe talk about a little bit that we continue creating vocabulary, but can you talk, Miss Osorio, about the final days?
So yes, so this is the one that I mentioned earlier, where I push out the vocabulary words through reading, and then the next slide will be with me recording the vocabulary words, explaining, and then there's a picture, and then giving them a chance to practice it. And then this is in Seesaw. This is at the end of the week, where they will choose one word from the vocabulary and they will use it on their own sentence and draw a picture of it. And then again, they have to record reading the definition of whatever sentence they wrote there.
And this is an example of a student that if you are interested, you can play every time that we put some samples of the students, you can play it and see what was the result, the learning.
So this one is the final paper, where when we are done with the picture map, then they know that they need to put it in the final paper. And then after that, again, I want to hear them reading their final paper. So again, they need to put that in Seesaw and record reading the final paper.
So this was the way that the students publish work, and this was really motivating for the students. So Ms. Osorio, would you like to talk about how they publish the work, and then you put it in the folder awesome work and they comment on each other?
Yes, so this one here, they know about our green screen, and then many of them, I asked them to, have a green screen in their background. So they recorded reading the final paper with the green background, and then they return it to me, and they put it in the awesome folder in Seesaw that I know where to get all the videos. So again, that's the end of the day. Yes.
Yeah, let me show you that so you can see.
Yep.
Okay.
And so once they return to me the video with the green background, I created the doing, and then I return it back to them, and then I put it in the same folder.
We are going to play one so we see the student.
Hi, my name is Leah, and today I'm going to be talking about how to protect the earth. The earth is our home and we have to take care of it. There are many ways we can protect it. In the first place, we can shower and brush our teeth less to save water. Also, I can protect the earth by picking up trash around my school and my neighborhood. Furthermore, we can reduce our waste by buying only what we need. In conclusion, all of us have to take care of the earth because it is our home. Bye.
So this has been possible because of all those steps that we took during the 2 weeks of instruction, which was building the background knowledge around the topic, building the vocabulary that they need to use, building the sentence structures that they are going to use. And if you pay attention, they are using those sentence structures that they practice orally in the 6-box retelling. And the same way that they were practicing the retelling orally, then they took it to writing. Ms. Osorio, would you like to add anything?
No, that's it. I think after this, we had to practice digital citizenship by watching 1 or 2 videos of their classmates, and then they provided a feedback about their videos.
And here is the feedback. So this particular student comment something, and the student reply, thank you. Mm-hmm. And some students just like it. Just so that is a way of sharing and publishing the work, making it authentic for them, so they are motivated about writing and about reading and about learning. It's very motivating for them to have an authentic audience.
And so to finish up the lesson, we had a science project, and there is an explanation on how to create the project and samples of the project. And then I assigned also an activity in Seesaw about this project. Again, there's different ways of they can access the explanation of the project. And so far, almost all of them did a great job. And not only that, they created something and then they recorded themselves explaining what they created.
Okay, we can play one.
With a gallon of milk, I made it to be a pot for a plant. By cutting the gallon and adding dirt to the plant, and it could work for a decoration.
That's cool.
With a gallon.
So that is it was done to integrate some kind of creating a solution for a problem that was a science standard and is related to the integration of the content area into everything, reading, writing, and then creating a solution. And they have a fun time. We finish the day with fluency. And we are going to take questions now. We finished our presentation. Any questions or comments?
We had a couple of questions that I think maybe are better answered individually. And so if you had a couple of questions, Mr. E. Barden, Kim had a suggestion. So we'll probably be reaching out individually, but I think maybe we should, just to respect Alex's time, we can pass it over to her.
Okay, let me mute my mic.
Okay, everyone. We're going to go ahead and head over to Miss Alex Dominguez, and she's going to be taking just a short time with you on social emotional learning, and then we'll come back to a close because we've got a couple of closing announcements and reminders. But go ahead and take it away, Alex.
Make sure you're unmuted, Alex.
Yeah, need to unmute, Alex. It's okay.
Nope, you're still muted.
Click back into your Meet, and then click on the bottom. You're going to have to hide that. I was going to say, you click hide where it says sharing. Now unmute, Alex.
All right, there it goes. All right, that was my first mistake of the day.
That's okay.
All right. All right, now I'm going to share. Sorry about that. I turned off my camera instead of turning off my audio. All right. Good thing I put on makeup. Just want to confirm, Ed Tech, can you guys see my screen?
All good.
And see my presentation?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. So welcome, thank you. We are going to be pretty quick today. So to aid in that, if you have any questions, here's your bit.ly link on this page. And please, we're going to save them for the end because this is pretty quick. All right. Here we go. This is me. I'm Alex Dominguez, and I am your teacher on special assignment for early learning. Don't get me wrong. Everything in here is totally adaptable to all grade levels. So teacher discretion, and it is adaptable. So at this time of uncertainty, our students need social emotional learning more than ever. So very, very important. So my goal today is to get you some information about what social emotional learning is, and then some strategies that are totally adaptable, and then at the end, some resources. So again, all strategies are given as options. You're going to need to use your teacher discretion to adapt to your age and your grade and your level. And there are lots of resources in this presentation. I am not endorsing any one in particular. I'm just getting it out there to you so you know it's there. All right, so what is social emotional learning? Due to time, I'm not going to go into this. Please know that after this presentation, I will be talking to Ed Tech to see how to get this out to you all so that you'll be able to click on the links and you'll be able to read this again. But we do know that children and adults need learning in all of these areas. And we need to try to address these needs, especially now that it's more complicated since we're not in person. One of the things that I think of is self-awareness, being able to identify one's own feelings, and others' feelings. And that's interesting now that we are on video chats, and potentially if they are going out in the public, people have masks on. So the same clues that we used to have of looking at people's mouths for smiles or grimaces is going to be different now. So being aware of that what our experiences are going to be different now that we are sheltering in place. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the strategies. And our first one is the class meeting. Class, nothing is going to be able to replace you meeting with your kids in person. But our next best thing is our Google Meet in our district. This is going to be your most powerful vehicle for social emotional learning, being that you can see the children's faces, they can see your face, and all of the following strategies that I'm going to give you are possible in a Google Meet. They are some of them are possible in different ways, but they are available or possible to do in a Google Meet. When you're doing social emotional learning, you may want to have smaller groups. I know that some of you guys are having your whole class meet at once for academics, but for social emotional learning, you might want to go for a group of 3 or 4 at least to begin with. And just like Maricar was saying, we got to make it fun. You got to have those theme days, pajama days, silly hair day, but also they can have show and tell. They can bring their pet to the meet. They can bring their grandma to the meet. This strategy really builds community and helps keep that communication flowing. Okay, moving along. Being able to recognize and being aware of emotions is really important. Students need to be able to describe their feelings and recognize it in others, and we need to give them the vocabulary to do so. And this is for all age levels. So talking for preschool through 2nd grade, having them act out their emotions in a Google Meet, bringing in puppets and stuffed animals, not only the teacher having that, but also for the students. They can make it out of paper bags, they can make it out of paper. Sometimes kids don't want to act out emotions on their own, but they are more than happy to have a stuffed animal do it for them. There are lots of emotion songs out there in the YouTube world. If you follow my YouTube channel, you can find a bunch of them. And I really like those because they are highly repetitive. They show characters' facial expressions, and they talk about the physical and different aspects of emotions. Coming up strategy is to have a social emotional read aloud. Those are amazing, all grade levels. But making sure that at this time we're discussing those facial and physical clues to our emotions and what can we see above a mask. So we might want to talk about what happens with people's eyes and eyebrows and foreheads when they're expressing emotions. Usually in class, we would discuss, when we were physically in class, in the classroom, what does a mouth look like? But nowadays, we're going to have to talk about more what the top of their face looks like. For 3rd through 5th grade, same things as preschool through 2nd, but we're going to be more nuanced about the emotions. So we might include emotions more like jealousy or annoyance, as opposed to sad, mad, angry, happy. So we can discuss how to gauge emotions over video calls over that Google Meet, and having them act out those emotions and sending them into you. I included on this a link to CSEFL. Great resources, great access, and they have these little faces here that you can use to help. Always like to share real kids' faces, but at this time, sometimes it helps to have cartoon ones as well. Okay, moving along. An emotions chart. So this photograph is actually from my physical classroom. As you can see, it says, "How are you feeling today?" And then each of those little squares is a little face that's showing an emotion. How this worked in my physical classroom is that each day as the kids came in, they would come pick up their name card with a Velcro on the back, and they would bring it over and they would let me know in a nonverbal way what they were feeling. The power of this is that I could see all on one big chart how they were feeling. And if there was a kid having a feeling that was out of the ordinary, I could have a conversation with them that day. Now, for older grades, that probably wouldn't work very well, but for lower grades, it was wonderful, and it was all on one chart. Now, how do we do that in a world where we can't have a big chart and they can't grab things? So we have a few resources here down at the bottom. I think you guys can see my little guy moving around. Shared with me are some seesaw activities for the lower grades. Miss Seidel has it in the library about how do you feel today. And then our very own Alisal Bin Cogswell has an emoji daily check-in. So these are for seesaw here. And it's a chance for them to pick their emotion and send that back to you on a daily basis. And the power here is you get that, and then maybe you might connect with them in a Google Meet individually, or be able to give them a phone call, or however you contact them. Over here is a feeling wheel, comes to us from Centervention. It's an activity for you to do in Google Meet. And again, see Cephal, because they have all those great pictures. Over here are some links to TPT. I am not promoting any one in particular there, but they are some free ones that I found. And some of them include more than just the emotion. They include some mindfulness activities and just a chance for them to draw and share with you on a daily basis. And those on TPT, the ones I found, go out through Google Forms through your Google Classroom. Take a second. Oh, this is funny. As I was taking a breath, we move on to mindful breathing. All right, I have some pictures up here, and I absolutely loved Anna and Maricar's pictures for breathing. I was using it before this presentation as I was feeling a little bit nervous, but I would like all of you out there to go ahead and lift your hand. Just one hand, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a mindful breathing activity that you can do anywhere. And we're going to trace the outline of our hand. And as we go up our finger, we're going to breathe in. And as we go down our finger, we're going to breathe out. So we're going to go up and down each and every finger. So let's get started. Doesn't matter which side you start in. Okay, breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. One more time, breathe in and out. And you should be at the end of your hand by then. Another breathing is to imagine that you have a pinwheel in front of you. And what you're going to want to do is breathe in deeply so that you can breathe out and make that pinwheel blow. I really like this one because you can have them make a pinwheel at home as an activity for class. Our next one here is with the flower and the candle. So what you're going to do is in one hand, you're going to imagine that you have a flower, and in the other hand, you're going to imagine that you have a candle. And what you're going to do is you're going to smell the flower and then blow out the candle. Let's go ahead and do that one together 2 times. Smell that flower. Blow out that candle. One more time. All right, I hope we're all feeling a little bit better. I wanted to include the mindful breathing because 3 deep breaths can calm the flight or fight response. That's very powerful. And all 3 of these are things that your children can take with them anywhere that they are. So during class with you, during remote instruction with you, when they're out playing with siblings, they can use it. Down here at the bottom, I included conscious discipline because that's where most of these breathing techniques come from. I included some Go Noodle channels like Flow, Think About It, and Empower tools. Those are great, and they do more meditation and relaxation, as well as mindful breathing. And I do want to highlight Cosmic Kids Yoga. She is on YouTube. She has great yoga, but she also has the Kids Zen and a pieced out guided relaxation, where she does teach additional breathing techniques. All right, moving along. Social emotional read alouds. Stories are a unique way to explore and experience different environments, personality types, and emotions. Through read alouds, children gain empathy, compassion, and understanding for others. That being said, the power behind a social emotional read aloud is the conversation that's sparked by the story. You will need to lead students to look at situations in different ways. So it's your questioning, your comprehension questions that are going to make a difference. For social emotional read alouds, picture books are excellent for this, and those go for any grade level. It's how you question around the story that makes it a TK story or a 4th or a 5th, 6th grade story. I have used the same exact books with my TK students as I have with older grade students. It's just, what are you pulling out of it? All right. So let's get a little bit more specific. What can you do with these read alouds? So there's lots of resources out there, and that's coming up next. But you can choose stories for a specific need. For example, books that have main characters that show perseverance. So the little engine that could. What kind of questioning can you do around that so that they get the idea of grit and not yet and working hard? We can also look for stories that have characters that have big feelings and they learn how to manage them. Students take that in and learn for themselves on how to manage their own feelings based on the characters in the story. You can also go for an emotions hunt. Take out an imaginary magnifying glass and hunt through those illustrations for characters with feelings. What do their faces look like? And what other clues in this? What other clues in the story tells us about their feelings? As well as you can find and share with your students social stories or social narratives. So what that brings to mind is Bono the monkey. Social stories and social narratives are stories about a specific need. So Bono the monkey, kindergarten classes all over the country use to teach kids how to behave in a classroom. We can switch Bono the monkey at school into Bono the monkey at home. And instead of Bono the monkey learning how not to run in the classroom, he can learn how to not run and jump in the house. Instead of learning how to share with the other kids in class, they can learn how to share with their siblings through a story. And then there are lots of new social narratives out there that are about COVID-19 and about why people are wearing masks. This is helpful for all kids so that they understand what we're doing and why we're doing it and how they too can be safe. Here on this page, we have some social emotional read aloud resources. Tucker the turtle comes to us from C. Cephal. Tucker the turtle is a little turtle that tends to get very angry. And through this story, he learns to tuck inside of himself, do mindful breathing, think about what he needs to do next, and then do the kind thing. So that Tucker the turtle, he learns how not to hit. As well as the next one is a Padlet, a link to a Padlet that has social emotional read alouds that are listed based on need. So like there's a whole line of compassionate, for empathy, for anger, for managing different feelings. Also down there are from We Are Teachers is a curated list of authors that are doing their own social emotional read alouds. I think that's very helpful because it's curated, and I have noticed that it has been getting longer as I go back and check in on it every few days. As well as Scholastic Learn at Home. They have great read alouds that are both in English and in Spanish. All right. Moving along to some resources out there, and I'm checking on the time right now to see. All right, I'll be real quick here. These are great resources here. Some from MCOE, some from the California Department of Education, from First Five. PBS Learning Media is great. I highly recommend Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which is a spin-off of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So definitely talks about emotions, as well as Sid the Science Kid. He has some episodes that go into germs, sneezes, getting sick, and how to get better. If we know our kids are going to be on the television, well, we can link them to episodes that they can learn from. The ones down at the bottom are additional resources. Go ahead and check them out. But what I like about these are most of them will link you to other resources as well. So there is a plethora of social emotional resources out there. So this is not the end all be all of resources. Please know that there's lots more out there. And if you have something you love, go ahead and share that with me. And we can share it out with the world. So it's already time for questions, and I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Actually, Alex, I'm looking at the questions right now, and it doesn't look like there's anything that came in. Again, just there were a couple of kind of logistical questions that George and I will be answering directly through an email, but I think that was it. There's some kudos for you and some thank yous from people coming in, but as far as I can tell, no questions.
All right. Well, thank you for those kudos. Make me feel better. This is my first time on a live stream, so thank you all, and I'm sorry if I went too fast.
You rocked it.
You did great, Alex. If you want to take like just 5 more minutes to maybe show something real quick, or are you ready to be finished for right now?
No, I'm ready for you to go ahead and take over.
Okay.
Just a quick note, Josh. There was also some kudos for Anna and Maricar. So good job, everybody. I know that how nerve-wracking this can be. So thank you for helping us out.
Yeah, I think Anna and Maricar are the first pair to collaboratively do this while being in separate places. So they must have some telepathy or mind reading going between each other to be able to work those slides from one person at a time, because I don't remember hearing next slide or anything like that. So well done to you guys. Okay, everybody. Thanks for being with us again this Friday. We are almost done. We are going to, we just have a couple of quick announcements. We do have our May boot camp. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out whose screen is here on the live stream. Anyway, we do have our May Google Boot Camp. We have just a few things left, just a few spaces left. And so those of you who are registered, you got invitations to attend through Google Calendar. If you don't see those emails, just go ahead and go to your Google Calendar, go to May 2nd and 3rd. Please make sure to click yes. We need you to click RSVP because we had a wait list last time. I'm sure we'll have one again. The last thing is that we are going to remind you we've got about 60 or 70 responses to the needs assessment. Go ahead and check your email. It went out to all the sites today. And if you can't find it, it went out about 9:25. If you can't find it, please email edtech@alisal.org and we will send it to you. And then lastly, as we say every week, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and be good to our kids. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Bye-bye.